Welcome to RG Industries. Useful information of golden crop animal drawn plough by Professor Henry Bwisa. Pulling or pushing ox drawn plough? Which is which?
I am on my farm in Kimilili, Lutonyi, Kibingei. You can see these people are two people with the two oxen. They are pulling a plough. What are they doing? This farm has been prepared for planting. And planting must be done scientifically. In other words, you can see now they are making trenches, which must be a distance, a known distance apart from each other, like a meter or so. And then within these trenches, the plants will also be planted at a scientific distance. So these oxen are using a yoke. They have been put together using a yoke. This yoke, that wood that that ties them together. You can see the yoke. It has a special distance. Now that distance is the one that gives the measurement of the trenches. You can see that there are two people. One is guiding the oxen. One, he encourages the oxen to move. He also makes sure that the oxen, the one inside, next to us, must walk right in the trench that has been made. The one outside, the gentleman with the ox drawn with the plough directs the plough right in the footsteps. Direct the plough right into the footsteps of the oxen that is not in the lane, because the distance between the two oxen is what makes the meter apart. So he is busy directing the oxen, the plough, into the feet of the outside. Watch as they turn. The oxen that was inside now comes outside. You'll now notice that, like the spotted oxen is now to walk inside the lanes, and the reddish oxen goes out. And look at the gentleman. The stick that the gentleman is using is soft. He cannot beat them with pain. In fact, look at how he's walking with them. He's just guiding them. And when they feel him, then they know they are guided and they move pretty well. The cows the oxen need comfort. And to need comfort, normally, the person guiding the oxen has to comfort them by singing a bit so that they feel comforted. And we want to ask him to try singing a bit, kuimbako kidogo tuone vile tunaimbanga kwa tradition yetu. Waze imbila kuchikafu chino khubone wase. Look, he's actually talking with them. He's just telling them what to do. They can sing any song, can say, Moyo kwange kwenyane kesa, Moyo kwange kwenyane kesa, Klovile na fula kwenyane kesa, Nge kwenyana mbuye, Moyo kwange kwenyana mbuye. yo kwange kwenyana mbu kulobile na njala kwenyana mbuye kwange kwenjana mbuye. That's one type of song. Another one would say nende byange umbolela sina oh yeah umbolela sina byala byange umbolela sina oh yeah umbolela sina. When you sing songs like that, they encourage the cows, they soothe them, and they have become more obedient in doing what they are doing. Byala byange umbolela sina oh yeah umbolela sina nende byange umbolela sina oh yeah umbolela sina. And you see now the gentleman encouraging the cows, the oxen, to move on, and this way within pasine mupa kimitari nga kino nyala wapa chieka chinga hu ne mwalota. He's saying that normally they start in the morning to the dranges of 2 acres in a day or at a shift, because they don't want to overwork the oxen, and therefore 2 acres is a standard measure, period, and acreage that the oxen can do without being overworked. So this is, I want you to know, when they come back, I want you to notice the structure and the architecture of the yoke and the things that tie the yoke and the oxen so that they do not hurt the oxen. But here we are doing farming. Now watch this yoke, watch the sticks that are turning them, watch how the cows have been tied such that they do not strangle them. And this is the plough, and this man he has a punker in his hand, because when the soil sticks on the plough, then he uses that punker to remove that soil. This is it. Kano le ga o pe kumrozo go bonenga tshi responder. Now you hear that whistling. That whistling makes them to stop. They understand the whistling. That whistling makes them rest. They understand. They have an understanding about that sound. You see, now he's doing it, and this gentleman now is cleaning the plough using the punker, and therefore that matter they have to rest. They have to stay. As soon as he has finished whistling and they want to go now, he gives them a command. They are commanded now. You heard what he says? He says, come up. That is exactly, it's an English word, but come. You see now, actually we have borrowed. He's saying, come up, alafu. He now encourages them and they continue. You see now, after he has whistled, they have stopped. Now commanded them to end. Move. You see what he had? He said, move. It is actually, and I am made to understand that today, dairy farmers are using music to when they are milking their cows, they make music, put on music, and that music soothes the cows, and the cows therefore produce more milk. You can see there are certain sounds that have not been discovered, not that they have been discovered now. Our people used them from time immemorial, only that they didn't know the meaning. Like the whistling. What effect has the whistling to allow the oxen to stop? When you whistle, then it stops. And you see even the dog that is moving with these people. We always say dog is the best friend of man. When I whistled, that dog actually also looked at me. The whistling has therefore some effect. It can be used to call our dogs. If you have trained them well, you whistle and the dog comes. Either it knows you are calling it for a purpose, food, or even to direct it. So the whistling has a meaning. Maybe scientifically, someone can study and say, what does it do on the brains of a dog, on the brains of the cow, and on the oxen. As I was saying, the cows now, modern dairy farmers have discovered that some soft music will act on the brains and body of the milk cow. It relaxes, and more milk is collected when it's relaxed form. So we are saying we are doing farming now scientifically. In the future, I will not doubt you if you told me that you will have now earphones. Along those yoke, you can do some earphones into the for the cows, and therefore you can now reduce the idea of two people directing this oxen and the music. You are just one person. You are holding the plow, and they have the music and the extensions. You have it just like in the studio, for example, and therefore you start commanding. The role of that commanding person can now be converted into one person. So I would want to see research done, because now we have understood that music has a particular meaning on cows. Some commands have particular meaning on cows, so that to reduce the labor, that you don't need to have two people. You can have now that music, those commands, and then put them into the earphones or on the yoke, and as the person holding the plow talks to the cows, the oxen, commands them, whistles and whatever, then we can end up having just one person doing this job, and the labor intensity is reduced. I hope researchers can do that, because we have just seen whistling has a certain effect, tells them, communicates to the oxen. Commands communicate to the oxen. Why don't we digitalize that whistling, those commands, and probably mechanize or automize this plow, so that just one person is enough to do the job that was being done by two people. In India, I've seen a clip from India. This work should have been done with a motorcycle. The motorcycle will be the one that making these trenches. In Kenya right now, Kenya, Uganda, East Africa, the motorcycle, which we call border, is only on the road. And of course, the accidents associated with motorcycles are many. Just 3 days ago, I buried my brother-in-law who died due to motorcycle accidents. I went to the police and I saw so many motorcycles that had done accidents, maimed people, killed people and all that. Why? Yes, we know now the motorcycle in Kenya is only used for transport, border. The competition is too much. Many people want to get a motorcycle, a border, and go onto the road. Now, if we can also get other uses of motorcycles, if the motorcycles can start making these trenches, then indeed we are now, one, mechanizing the lands, but also we are making agriculture a little sexy, so to speak, And therefore, the youth can therefore start being attracted into agriculture. This is the best. You see, now it's looking at me. Oh, and they stopped because they had me, and the dog had me, and is also now waiting because I've just whistled. It is waiting to see the next command, and if I don't do anything, it will continue walking. But because I whistled, it stopped and is now expecting my command. This is what I'm talking. Certain sounds can mean differently, and therefore research on it found or done well will actually help in terms of being friendly to animals, reducing the labor on the farms and all that. Oh, sorry. When I whistle, they stop. Aha. Yeah, now you see what he's doing? He has stopped them so that he removes the dirt from the ox, from the plough, using the panga. And therefore, he said, come, comb. No? Comb. It's like come. You know, when it's going ahead and he says comb, he's telling it to come back, and it's actually a direct translation from English. Oh yes. And these oxen have their specific names. Hiyo ya nje mnaitwa you read? Swara. Hii maridadi. You can see maridadi like the spotted one. It's called maridadi. The outside one is called swara. So if these cows are these oxen and other cows are just grazing freely, when you call the name swara, it will return. For example, if it is heading others into eating other people's crops, just call them by the name and it will come back. When maridadi does not hear its name, it assumes everything is okay. So those have names, and if one of them is going outside the lane, you call its name swara and it goes back in line. Maridadi and it goes back in line. So there is also a meaning in giving them the names.
Thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Please contact us. We will be happy to serve you. Thank you.